The abandoned coal mine in Pennsylvania loomed before me like a hungry, gaping mouth in the dark. I stepped inside, my flashlight cutting through the thick, suffocating layers of ancient, swirling black dust. Silence pressed against my ears, heavy and cold, until the faint sound of weeping echoed from below. I descended deeper into the earth, the walls dripping with moisture that tasted like rusted iron and old, bitter secrets. Every step felt like walking into a forgotten tomb, and the air grew thin, making it difficult to catch my breath as the tunnel twisted in impossible, jagged directions. My light flickered, illuminating a wall covered in strange, frantic carvings. These weren't just random marks. They were names, hundreds of them, etched deep into the coal with fingernails or crude tools, all dated from a century ago. A shiver raced down my spine as I realized I recognized some of the names from local history books. I tried to turn back, but the tunnel behind me had vanished, replaced by solid, unyielding rock face. Panic surged, but I forced myself to remain calm, remembering that fear is the ultimate enemy in the dark. I pushed forward, hoping to find another way out, my heart hammering against my chest like a trapped bird. The weeping grew louder, shifting into a low, guttural chanting that seemed to vibrate through the very ground I walked on. I clutched my shawl tighter, seeking comfort in my faith, praying for strength as the shadows around me began to stretch and contort into humanoid shapes that danced just at the edge of my vision. Suddenly, I stumbled into a large, circular chamber that looked like a forbidden ritual site. In the center lay a pile of old, tattered clothes, identical to the ones I was wearing. My breath hitched in my throat as I reached out to touch the fabric, feeling an icy static charge shock my fingertips. I looked down at my own sleeves, seeing they were starting to fray and turn to gray ash, just like the clothes on the floor. I realized with mounting horror that the time loop wasn't just a trap. It was a hungry entity feeding on my physical presence, slowly consuming me into the mine's dark history. I turned to run, but the chamber shifted. The layout changed in an instant, rearranging the tunnels like a giant, malevolent Rubik's Cube. I was back in the entrance, but now the sky outside was pitch black, and the air felt heavy with the weight of centuries of isolation. I realized the exit was a lie, a trick of the mind designed to keep the entity satisfied. The mind didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to become part of the wall, another name etched in the darkness for the next unfortunate soul to discover. I fell to my knees, weeping in despair. Then a whisper grazed my ear. "You are the one who carved these names." I froze. The voice was mine, but older, colder, and filled with a malice that curdled my blood. I slowly looked into the dark reflection of a stagnant water pool on the floor, dreading what I might see. The reflection didn't move when I did. Instead, it smiled a cruel, jagged smile and began to climb out of the water. My heart stopped. I was looking at myself, yet it was an entity, a manifestation of the mind's hunger, taking my form to walk in the world above. The entity lunged, grabbing my wrists. The cold was unbearable, like being dragged into a deep, frozen abyss. As it touched me, I felt my memories slipping away, replaced by the crushing weight of hundreds of years of death, darkness, and endless, stifling silence beneath the Appalachian Mountains. My identity began to dissolve. I saw flashes of my childhood, my family, and my home, all flickering out like dying candles. I tried to speak, to call out for help, but my voice was stolen by the entity, leaving me in a state of silent, eternal, and hollow agony. With one final, desperate thought, I realized the only way to break the loop was not to escape, but to forget. If the entity fed on my memory of the mine, then I had to erase it. I concentrated on every happy moment I ever had, trying to overwrite the horror. The entity shrieked, a sound of grinding metal and breaking stone, as my memories began to burn away the darkness. The chamber shook violently, rocks falling from the ceiling, burying the entity and the past beneath tons of shifting earth and coal, sealing the cycle for good. I woke up in my car, parked near the mine entrance. The sun was rising, casting long, peaceful rays across the fields. I felt a strange emptiness in my mind, a void where my memories of the last few days should have been. I shivered and drove away, never knowing why. But as I drove, I looked in the rearview mirror. For a fleeting, terrifying second, my reflection wasn't there. I was gone, and the darkness of the mine was forever a part of me, waiting in the silence, watching, and knowing I never actually left the tunnels.